Hello, this is Ducky for Brothers in Oz. Welcome back to more Elite Dangerous. Hopefully this will be a shorter video today. I'm just going to show you what I've done with my controls. I've changed up my controls a little bit. And I'm going to show you a little bit about flying with flight assist off and how that works. But for now, I've got flight assist turned on. I am
Ship released. Engines engaged.
just going to retract my landing gear. I'm going to throttle up and pull away here. And I'll just walk you through what I've done with the controls to suit me a little bit better. I'm still using the Xbox 360 controller. I still think it works really well, and I just want to show you, if you were thinking of using an Xbox 360 controller to play Elite Dangerous, how you might want to think about setting up the controller to better suit your playstyle. So what I've got is I'm basically using the, I'll quickly show you, I'm using the base setup of the control pad with yaw. Now it says custom because I've changed some of this stuff, and I'll just talk you through it. So my left bumpers, my left and right bumper basically increases throttle, decreases throttle. And you can back it up into a reverse here as well. So if you look down here on sort of to the left, to the right of the radar, sorry, you'll see the throttle. If you're not familiar with the game, I'll throttle down here. I've got pitch up, pitch down on the y-axis of the left stick. I've got yaw on the x-axis of the left stick. On the right stick, I've got thrust up and thrust down. Now I need a frame of reference here to actually show you that that's working, so just bear with me. Just going to turn this guy around. And you can see that when I use the right stick here, I can basically translate upwards, downwards, sort of like a helicopter, and I can strafe left, right, sorry, and left. And in this way, it makes it really easy to do sort of a strafing turn around an object if I need to do that. If I need to go up around an object, I can sort of strafe around it like that. I used to have the yaw on the triggers, but it was a little bit harder for me to control in terms of the coordination. So what I've done is I've moved the roll to the triggers. So right trigger, left trigger. Now the only problem with that is that the game doesn't use the triggers as an analog input. So it's a fully digital input. So I can't actually control the speed of the roll, which is really the only problem. And I do hope that they fix that. Maybe I'll post a suggestion in the forum or something. I know they've probably got a lot more important work to be done on this game, but it would still be good. So that's roll on the triggers. To deploy my weapons and to fire my weapons, I hit A on the face. I felt like using the face buttons was a bit of a better fit because you don't need an analog input to fire the lasers. It doesn't fire any faster or any slower depending on how far or how hard you pull the trigger. So I figured a digital button is just as good. And I used to play arcade games like that anyway. So A is primary fire, B is secondary fire. You can see the D scanner on the left charging there. That's the secondary fire group. You can have, if I had sidewinder missiles or something like that, that could be on the secondary fire. You can actually change up your fire groups as much as you want. So you can see I've got my pulse lasers on the primary fire, and the scanner on the secondary fire. I don't have missiles on this ship. To retract my hardpoints, I hit the I click in the left stick, so that's to undeploy my hardpoints. I can deploy them again using the left stick as well. I'll put those away now. Frame shift drive I've put on the Xbox 360 controller back button. You can see that it says frame shift cancelled, mass locked. I'm too close to the space station, so it won't let me do that. But if I fly a little bit away, I have to be 5 kilometers out, I'll be able to do that. So frame shift drive allows you to go into what they call super cruise. So the mode that basically lets you fly faster than light and lets you get around inside a star system really quickly. So between space stations or between planets. And also after super cruise, once you've engaged super cruise or once you've selected another star system, allows you to move into hyperdrive and travel to a brand new star system, which of course uses fuel and all that stuff. Start is still the start menu. Up and down, the D-pad still is the energy to the right here, so I can put more energy in the weapons, more energy in the systems, reset it all by pushing down. Up goes in, puts energy into the engines, gives me more power. I think that's really useful, and that's a default setting. B still allows me to interact with the HUD elements, so if I hold B, push left on the D-pad here, and Y still is targeting. So those are default settings. So those are the controls, and I feel like this setup works a lot better. You can see some people flying away there. I love how this world is like a living world. Even this is just solo missions. Not online. I'm not playing online, in other words. It still kind of feels like a living world, although I'm sure online it feels a lot better. And it does feel a lot better. You see people coming and going and all that stuff. The right stick, if I click that in, it still disengages the head. I still find that useful, just for looking around and giving myself a frame of reference. I'd love to be able to get a track IR setup happening. Maybe I will. We'll see. I'll see how my finances go and all that stuff. But I also want to talk about flying with flight assist off. So if I move to functions here, you can see that I'll turn my light ships on just for fun, and you can see that flight assist is on. So what flight assist does is it basically steadies your ship. So when I throttle up, it's throttling up for me, and when I throttle down, it'll stop me. Sort of like, I guess, more terrestrial flying, as if you were in atmosphere. When I translate to the left and right, you can see that when I let go of the stick, my ship will slowly come to a stop. Yeah. Up, it'll come to a stop. Down, it'll come to a stop. Same with the rotation. When I let go of the stick, for the yaw and the pitch, the ship will come to its own stop. So basically all it does is steadies your ship. Even with the roll, when I let go of the roll, it automatically stops the roll. Now you can fly with flight assist off, which changes the flight model quite significantly, and it's very interesting. So now you see when I translate that the ship doesn't stop moving when I let go of the stick. It actually keeps moving as though I were actually in space. And I can rotate. Funny thing is I can't speed up the rotate. You can only rotate so fast, but you'll keep rotating. I find this flight model quite interesting. I think it's quite challenging. You can see I've kind of lost control a little bit here. You kind of have to watch the way your ship is moving and apply thrust, yaw, or lateral thrust, or vertical thrust accordingly to bring your ship to a complete stop. You can see I'm moving backwards here. So what I do is I apply a forward thrust to kind of stop that. and it's all basically laws of physics, setting things in motion. So with the throttle, the way the throttle works is a bit different. What you're actually doing is you're burning thrust. So I'm burning thruster here, which picks up speed, and because I'm not applying any counter thrust, I'm not losing speed. I'm actually moving in sort of this direction, aren't I? But you can apply the lateral thrust to slow yourself down. And here I'm just applying a little bit of right lateral thrust to slow myself down. I'm sort of drifting downwards, so I'll apply a bit of up lateral thrust. And I'll apply some reverse thrust, stop myself from moving forwards. Now this flight model is very tricky. It took me 2 or 3 goes to land, to actually dock. I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but you can see I'm still drifting here very slowly. It's very, very tricky flight model, but I can see a lot of benefits to actually using this model. Let's see, do I have a contact? I need to change my... I'll back out here. Okay. Okay. So I've selected the port now. I want to go to contacts, Murray port, request docking.
Request denied.
Got request denied. That's interesting. Let's try that again. Maybe they were full.
Request denied.
Or maybe I just gotta wait for a bit. But so flying with this flight model is quite tricky. It is really quite tricky, and I do get a bit tired of it. It's I do think it's a lot more fun in a way. And I can see some benefits to using it, especially in combat, where you can set your ship to track like this, and you might deploy your lasers and just track a target and just fire away, rather than having to constantly pull on a stick. You can also thrust in sort of different ways. You can, so if I align myself with the space station again, and so I have a frame of reference. So if I'm thrusting towards it here, I might be able to thrust right. I might be able to speed up, turn. I'll be able to roll, turn, thrust back this way, thrust against myself. Yeah, that didn't sound right, did it? Thrust against myself. So basically I could thrust towards this station. I'm drifting left. I could pitch. I could pitch up. And just allow myself to just generally drift into positions, or into areas, or just allow myself to sort of float through space. And I could see how it might be easier to track a target, might be easier to keep, you know, you got momentum, and you can, yeah, you can actually move the ship in slightly subtle different ways. I think anyone who really learns how to fly with a flight assist off may have a genuine advantage in their piloting skills, especially when it comes to combat. You can see here I'm spinning. You know, you can rotate on on a single axis, or you can shift it a tiny bit off axis. And you can see here what I'm doing here is, if I was trying to avoid fire, for example, I could hit my spin into a rotate that's slightly off axis, and it would make myself a lot harder to hit, rather than spinning on a single axis or having to constantly drag on the joysticks to achieve the same effect. Now I'm just going to close that. I'm going to try and request docking. And I've got request granted now. So I'm going to just rotate here. And I'm just going to show you how tricky landing can be. I don't even know if I'm going to be all that successful. I've got 10 minutes to dock, and you think, well, that's plenty of time. But with this flight model, it just takes a little bit of learning and practice. It is an advanced flight model, and I do see why they turn on flight assist. But default, I think this such a way of flying will definitely frustrate a lot of people, and it does frustrate me too. But after a while, you do get the hang of it. I gotta thrust forward a little bit here.
Warning, landing gear not deployed.
Oops, forgot about that. And now I'm playing mostly with the controller. I've set up my controller so that I can play mostly off the controller. I can use hotkeys on the keyboard. I've got L for landing, U for deploying hardpoints and all that stuff. But I feel like, if I should try to learn how to play with the controller mostly, because that's how I'm going to want to play. Let's just face it. That's how I'm going to want to play. I'm drifting backwards. I was thrusting forwards there. I'm just going to try and drift it into position here. Thrust forward a little bit. Now slide over sideways. Thrusting forward. I'm still drifting backwards. Sometimes you apply too much counter thrust and you start to slide around. You just got to be careful not to send yourself sliding out of control. Although if you do, you can always turn on flight assist and have your ship stabilize itself. Now I need to go forward a little bit. Just nice and slow, nice and gentle. And I'm gonna hit pretty close to hitting. I'm kind of rotated a bit strange here. Okay. Apply a bit more forward thrust. We'll see if we can come in for a land. Ow. See, that's not good. That was not good. This rotation. I'm kind of landing it backwards here as well, so damn it. It's quite tricky. It takes a massive amount of concentration, just a massive amount of concentration, just to land. And you can, I guess if you wanted to, you could turn on flight assist to land, and you could turn off flight assist if you wanted to use it in combat. But yeah, I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like, gosh, this is bad. This is really, really bad. I need to stabilize the ship a bit better. Just rotate. I feel like landing is actually really good, just really good practice. It's a precision task. It requires a few different types of maneuvers and a lot of different types of inputs. And it can be done. It can be done. I had to it took me 2 goes before, but hopefully I can do it in 1 go today. And I landed a bit hard. What? I thought I had it. Now I'm spinning away. Stabilize the ship a little bit. Rotate. Okay. I'm gonna thrust forward because I'm drifting backwards. Pitch up. Thrust, thrust. Apply some counter thrust as I approach. Slow myself down. Some lateral thrust. Vertical thrust, sorry. Apply a bit of lateral thrust there. You need to be in the center, of course. You got to really think about thrust and counter thrust, really. That's what it's all about with this flight model. So I've now aligned myself with the vertical axis there. Just gonna rotate a little bit. Try to level out the ship. Pitch up. I'm now misaligned. Got 2 minutes and a half left. Ah, gosh. Sometimes I overcorrect and start to put too much input. Two minutes. And it just takes practice, really. Got my landing gear deployed. I don't know why it doesn't want to lock in. Ah, it's frustrating, for sure. But it's also kind of fun. It's challenging. Oh, I'm gonna hit again. I'm gonna try and skirt along. Cheat a little bit.
Docking successful.
Yes.
Engines disengaged.
It's you can see how difficult it can be, how tricky it might be. But it's a lot of fun. So that's it. That's my new control setup. Flight assist. What that does and does not do for you. Try it out. See how you like it. I can definitely see some benefits to it, and if nothing else, it's a fun way of flying, and it actually makes you feel like you're in space. And yeah, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed that video. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.